Last time on the Skip and Josh podcast.
What percentage of major leaguers do you think have tattoos? I think it's probably 50.
It might be more than 50. I think you and I are the last two people on earth who don't have a tattoo.
It's so true. Even my daughter's friends, teenage girls, have tattoos.
Yeah.
You're listening to the Skip and Josh podcast with Skip Sherman and Josh Obadia.
Okay, Skip. So any of our listeners who listened to our previous episode will recall that we did something a little different. You came up with a list of 7 questions for me that I was not aware of in advance. And you asked me all those 7 questions and I answered them and we talked about each one. It was a really good episode and it was a really good idea because it required no preparation on my part. So I was very happy about that. So today is basically the continuation of that, where today I'm going to ask you 7 questions. And I will tell you that I came up with a list of 15 originally, and I've narrowed it down to 7.
So the thing is, now I reap the rewards of this because I didn't have to prepare one bit this week. 0.
Correct, exactly.
But you told me you had the 7 questions like 5 minutes after we stopped recording last time.
Right. I thought it was going to take me 7 weeks to come up with 7 questions. It took me about 7 minutes. So, but before we get to that, have I got a little story for you?
Okay, can't wait. I know you've been teasing it like in our text, and I have a great story for the end of the show also, so I can't wait to hear what you've got.
Great. So, I'm sure you've gotten many junk emails in the last, I don't know, since you've ever gotten your first email.
Well, what do you mean, Josh? Don't you want to consolidate all your credit? Don't you want to try the new Viagra supplement? Don't you want to try you've got a package waiting from DHL. Don't you have a package waiting from DHL?
What about the ones where you've won a lot of money?
Oh, yeah, the Nigerian prince. That's the original.
Right.
Yeah.
So I got an email this week that said that I won a contest. I won $250 because I filled out a survey and I won a contest. And right away, I'm like, wait a minute, this can't be real. This can't be legit. Especially because it said there was like a PDF attachment, which was basically a 1-page document that I had to fill out and send back to them within 48 hours. Now, I looked at the document and I saw what they were asking for. They weren't asking for my bank account number. They were just asking for my name and my address and my phone number, which is all stuff that, you know, any contest you win, they're going to ask for that stuff. So I wasn't sure if this was legit or not. I do recall filling out a survey. It was actually, to be more specific, by the way, the email, the attachments were all in French. And the company, at least the address and the signature, is in Montreal. And they said I filled out a survey because I went to the Just for Laughs festival. Now, I didn't go to the Just for Laughs festival. So that's another reason I was a little bit skeptical about this.
Mm-hmm. But does the email address that it came from look legit, or it looks kind of scary?
It looked legit, actually. Yeah. Now, I did fill out a survey because I went to Osheaga. And I think Osheaga and Just for Laughs and all those Montreal events, they're probably all run by the same company.
Or the companies that go do the surveys are going to all of them.
Right.
You know? Yeah.
So anyway, there was an actual name of a person and her phone number was there. It's a Montreal phone number with her extension. And I called. Of course, I got her voicemail. I left a message. It was a Friday. There was no way she was calling me back. But on Monday, she called me back.
Wow.
So, you know, and I could tell that her first language was French, but, you know, we spoke half French, half English. And I basically explained to her that I got this email and I just wanted to make sure that it was legitimate. And I told her, like, I never went to the Just for Laughs festival. And then she, you know, it sounded like she was like scratching her head and saying, okay, well, let me do a little bit of research and get back to you. So I said, okay, fine. And I emailed her as well. I responded to the email and I called her. So she had my email address.
Sounds legit, this.
It does sound legit. And I looked up the company. They are a company in Montreal. They have an actual office, you know, that you can walk into and whatever.
Yeah.
I had explained to her that I didn't go to Just for Laughs, but I did go to Osheaga. So Anyway, I don't know if it was like 24 hours later, 48 hours later, I got an email from her. And I'd asked her also, the document that she wanted me to fill out, if she could send me the English version, just because I wanted to make sure, like, if I'm signing this, I want to make sure I understand it. Like, I understood most of the French one, but there are a couple words that I didn't quite understand. And if I'm going to sign my life away, I want to make sure, what I'm doing here. So I asked her if she could send me like a translated English version. She said, no problem. So she sent me the English rules, if you will, like they have their rules and regulations, because any contest in the province of Quebec is so much more complicated than anywhere else in Canada.
It's absolutely ridiculous. Ridiculous.
But she sent me the English version, and she said to me in the body of the email, she said, I still have to translate the exoneration form. I'll get that to you in a couple of days, but I wanted to let you know that we made a mistake because you didn't actually go to Just for Laughs. You went to Osheaga. So, and she says, but it's good news because instead of winning $250, you actually won $500.
But is this for real?
It is.
Yeah. So you're going to get a check in the mail?
No, actually they're just going to do a money transfer like Interac. But they don't need my bank account info for that. They just need my email address, which they already have my email address. So it's not like I'm giving them information that they don't already have.
But did you get the money? When are you going to get it?
Well, I just got the form yesterday. I filled it out yesterday. I haven't sent it back. I'm going to reread it 17 times to make sure I'm not signing my life away. And I'll send it back on Monday.
Wow. Congratulations. That's great.
Yeah.
It pays to read the emails, even if they look like spam.
But it also pays to fill out those surveys, because I'm sure you get a million surveys and you probably never fill out any of them.
Yeah. Where did you do it? Like you did it on site at Osheaga?
No. I got an email like 2 or 3 weeks after saying, can you please fill out this survey about your experience at Osheaga?
Well, that's amazing.
Actually,
I never fill out those surveys.
Didn't you tell me one of your kids was going to go to that?
Selena was thinking about it, but she didn't really like many of the acts, so she didn't go. Well, that's great news, Josh. Use the money well. I don't know what you're going to do with it. You're going to go buy a bunch of baseball cards?
Probably not. So I'm wondering, did we get any listener mail from our last episode?
Mailbag.
Yeah, we got a few. Of course, our friend Derek messaged through Facebook, and he said about our 7 questions. He said, I've always been a Crosby guy, but I think what propelled Ovechkin back into the conversation was not just him winning the cup, but the passion he showed along the way and afterwards. It helped dispel the myth that Europeans care less about winning the Stanley Cup than North American-born players. I think that's really true, actually. I think that was part of it. All his celebration and his getting drunk every night and all this, I think it endeared Ovechkin to everybody. And then he said a big yes to pineapple on pizza, but you need to pair it with bacon. The mix of sweet and salty is what makes it epic. I kind of agree with that. That's why the original pineapple pizza was the Hawaiian pizza, which has ham, and pineapple. That's the original pineapple.
By the way, I want to tell you, last week I ordered pizza with pineapple on it.
How was it?
It was good. The only problem is, like, I agree with what he said. It's got to be pineapple and something else, because pineapple on its own is not filling enough. I need some protein.
So you that's interesting. You ordered specifically pineapple pizza because we talked about it.
Exactly, specifically because we talked about it.
That's amazing. So then the other mails that we got are more about potential new topics. We have listeners that are proposing topics. Finally, Josh. Finally,
it's great. I love it.
So our friend Mark in Philadelphia said that potential topic is our favorite introductions or beginnings of songs. And I actually had this on a list. I think we talked about it, or maybe I have it on my list, or I'm not sure.
We may have talked about it.
Yeah. So like he mentioned because he told me he was listening to the radio and he heard Fool's Overture, by Supertramp. So he's like, oh, it has this epic intro. He's like, oh, they should do an episode on that.
Yeah, a song like that would never last in this day and age.
No, never. We talked about those.
Yeah.
And then Jason, also our friend of the show here in Montreal, he said he introduced his wife. I don't know if they're married, might be girlfriend. Anyways, they're a couple. They've been together a long time. So he introduced his girlfriend to our podcast on a road trip, and they listened to a bunch of our episodes, and he's trying to get her into it. So a couple of the topics that they proposed are favorite writers or books, which I don't think we could do 7.
I did read one book this year.
That's good. So that's a start. I don't think I read any books this year, but anyways, this is one for you, maybe not so much for me. Blind date stories. You must have some dating stories.
Tons. Way too many.
Like that could be a whole episode for sure.
That could be like a 7-part series.
Yeah. Favorite comedians? I don't know. That might be one to consider. And then stressful situations that you can now laugh about. We'd really have to dig deep to think about those. Anyway, so those are some of the topics that were proposed. They're all like pretty good ones, actually.
I love it. That's great.
All right, so I cannot wait to hear the 7 questions that you have for me. Like I know my thought process. Like, well, I didn't really have much of a thought process for coming up with the 7 questions for you. It's just like stuff that came to me, and I just wrote them things down for a week. I was like, oh, I'm gonna ask Josh about this. Oh, I'm gonna ask Josh about this, and then eventually I came up with 7 questions.
So just so you know, like a lot of mine are not multiple choice questions. You're gonna have to like just come up with your own thing.
Well, luckily for you, I am versed in many topics, and I am ready to answer questions about anything you could throw at me.
I'm going to start with an easy one. They get a little bit harder, I think, as we go on.
Sure, okay.
The easy one is, do you use an electric toothbrush or a regular toothbrush?
What kind of question is that?
Well, it's a good question because some people use electric and some people don't.
It's a very interesting question. I use a regular toothbrush.
Okay.
But the other 3 people that I share a household with all use an electric toothbrush.
See, so I'm surprised that you don't use an electric toothbrush because I would figure the peer pressure from the rest of your family would lead you to do that.
See, because what happens is, like, of course, like, we grew up with regular toothbrushes, so we use the regular ones, right? And then when my kids were little, to get them to brush their teeth, it's more fun to turn on the electric toothbrush, and then they just stuck with it all their lives, right? And then somehow my wife started using it too. I think she said, hey, that looks cool, like what the kids are doing. I'm going to use the same thing. But what do you use?
I use an electric toothbrush, and it's actually,
I know you do,
it's better for you because it does a better job. With a regular toothbrush, you probably press too hard and you don't realize it.
Yeah.
It's probably not good for your gums. In fact, I know it's not good for your gums. And you probably don't brush long enough. Like the electric toothbrush will tell you, okay, you're done now, you can stop. But with a regular toothbrush, I'm sure you don't spend enough time brushing your teeth.
The question is, do 8 out of 10 dentists recommend electric?
I think 10 out of 10 recommend it.
Okay, well, maybe you're going to convince me. Maybe I'm going to switch now. I'll have to look. I'm going to go to the store tomorrow. I'm going to be at the grocery store. They have a bunch of them there. We go to a big store that has a pharmacy built in. I'm going to look at all the electric toothbrushes.
But you already have one in the house. All you need is your own brush. You don't need the whole mechanism.
Well, yeah, but I'm not going to share the whole thing with them.
Okay. So last time you asked me a question between Sidney Crosby and Alex Ovechkin.
Mm-hmm.
So my question to you is, who do you like better? LeBron James or Steph Curry?
Oh, I thought you were going to say LeBron James or Michael Jordan.
No, I wanted to pick players who are both still playing.
Look, if you're asking me who's better, which is not what you're asking.
No, it's not.
I just want to preface this. LeBron James is clearly the better player, in his course of his career. I don't think there's any debate on that. Who do I like better? Steph Curry, 100 times out of 100. I mean, he's the most fun player in the NBA to watch. The 3-point line for him is just a suggestion. It's not a rule. It's just like, this is where you should shoot from. He doesn't care. His brother went to Duke. I just think that Steph Curry really revolutionized basketball in that he's the first guy maybe in our whole life since I've been watching basketball who was one of the most dominant players in the league, and who's little. He's a little guy, right? We haven't ever had a little guy that can dominate the league. Like Isaiah Thomas maybe at one point was but he wasn't at that level. John Stockton, like you never, not even close.
Spud
right?
Webb.
Like, well, I mean, yeah, but I mean, I just think Curry is so much fun to watch, And don't get me wrong, like sometimes my son asks me, like, is LeBron James better than Michael Jordan? And we can debate this like for 100 years, and it's basically turn on ESPN now, and I bet you they're talking about LeBron James versus Michael Jordan. It's on that they ask that question every day on the radio and on TV. LeBron is a freak of nature. He's a player that we've never seen before. Like a combination of size and strength and skill. Like he's one in a million, right? But Curry's also one in a million too. Like he's a guy that can do everything. So
okay, great.
Curry, I like Curry. Although I wasn't rooting for him in the finals because they were playing the Celtics, but he's still fun to watch.
Excellent. Okay, Skip. So you go shopping every week. You buy many different products that you eat, products that you use to wash your hair, whatever, all kinds of different products. Are there any products, and all these products have like, the brand name version and then the no name version. But are there any products that you must have the brand name version of?
That's a really hard question. I'm not like such a brand guy, but
it's okay if your answer is no. It's okay.
Yeah, I usually will buy like
potato chips. I'm talking about anything really. Cream cheese.
Yeah, potato chips.
And when I say no name, I don't mean the yellow no name. I mean like just
no.
generic.
You mean any other kind? Yeah. Like you mentioned cream cheese, I will only buy the Philadelphia brand. I don't buy like Great Value or whatever other kind there is.
Yes, I only eat Philadelphia cream cheese as well. That's why I thought of this question.
You mentioned shampoo, and no, I've bought all kinds. I bought like the store brand of the different shampoo before. So no, I don't think there is. I think I just buy whatever looks good.
Okay, but for cream cheese, you must use Philadelphia. So that's the one.
Yeah, no, I think that's true. And I'm sure because there's so many things that we buy, right? So, I mean, you're not talking about clothes, are you?
No. Just products that you consume, like dishwasher detergent.
Yeah.
Laundry detergent.
I don't care. I'll buy President's Choice. I'll buy Yellow Brand. I'll buy whatever there is. I don't care. Whatever looks good, But honestly, no, I don't care.
But for cream cheese, you must have Philadelphia.
I think cream cheese, you must have Philadelphia. I bet you if we by next episode, I'll probably think of more things that I need to buy the brand, but I just can't think of them like at this minute.
Okay, so Skip, next question. You've been to many, many, many sporting events in your life. Most of them have happened in Montreal because that's where you live, but you've gone to other sporting events in other cities all over the world. What sporting event that you've never been to are you dying to go to?
Didn't we do an episode about this? Not exactly.
No, I don't think we did.
No, we did our best events that we've been to, right?
Yeah, we also did like championships you'd like to see, but that I sort of meant on television. This is physically going there, attending in person.
Yeah. Okay, I'll tell you like one thing. Like we could just go through the sports, right? Baseball, no. I've seen enough baseball games. I don't care about going to World Series, wherever it is. The Super Bowl, not interested. It's corporate. I'd rather watch it on TV. NBA Finals, same thing. I'd rather watch it on TV. Same thing, Stanley Cup Final. Maybe if the Canadians were in the Stanley Cup Final, I'd like to go. But really, like, hockey's better on TV. I think I'd like to go to the Final Four.
Okay.
And I know we've talked about that, like possibly going. Well, you mentioned you wanted to try to go last year.
By the way, you don't have to stay in North America for this question.
Yeah, I know. There's two. So the Final Four is one of them. And then I would really like to go see Liverpool game at Anfield, which is their home stadium in Liverpool. That would be like, I think, quite an experience. I think it would be like an amazing experience. Of course, like going to see a World Cup game, soccer game, but not when they come here. I don't want to go to MetLife Stadium to see the World Cup. I want to go to one of these iconic stadiums in Europe, in England or in Spain, you know? So I think that would be my two answers. I'd like to see a Liverpool game, and I'd like to see like to go to the Final Four one day.
Okay. I had a feeling you'd say Liverpool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, next question. And this is more of a philosophical question.
Oh boy.
And you remember you were telling me how like there's all these questions that people debate on the internet, like pineapple on pizza, for example. Or is a hot dog a sandwich, which I had not heard that one until you mentioned it.
You never heard of that?
Not until you mentioned it.
Wow.
So my question to you is, what are your thoughts or what is your stance regarding outside clothes on or in the bed?
That's a stupid question. That's a you question.
No, this is not just me. There's a lot of people talking about this on the internet. I have a very strong opinion about this.
So explain this. Like I come in from outside.
Yes.
I'm going shopping at the grocery store. I'm wearing jeans and a t-shirt, socks also. Right?
Sure. Yeah.
So you're saying I should never get in my bed wearing those clothes?
Correct. That is exactly what I'm saying. Especially, by the way,
like I should, if I'm getting into bed, I should change into sleeping clothes and then get into bed, or change into other clothes.
Right. Especially if, because some people, you don't do this, but a lot of people every day take the subway. And if they sit on the subway, their clothes are no longer clean. And who knows what's on their clothes.
Okay, for me, my stance is you want my answer is
Yeah.
I don't care.
Okay.
You could wear whatever you want. I'll get into bed wearing whatever. If I'm tired and I come home and I've just gone on the subway, I'm not going to change my clothes. My wife may have a different answer. Although I don't think it's so much for her outside clothes. I think she's fine with outside clothes in bed, like on a normal day. But when she comes home from work and she's wearing her like stuff that she wore in the hospital, that she gets changed. She changes her clothes immediately when she comes home from work.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she mentioned that to me a long time ago. So, and I'm not surprised.
But if she worked in an office, or if she's just going to school that day, right? Not to the hospital, she wouldn't change her clothes like when she came home, just at the hospital. But anyways, for me, it's like I don't care. If you want to, I know for you, it's like that's a huge no.
Yes,
and I'm sure like that. Tying it back to the topic that Jason proposed about a blind date or dating stories. Have girls that have come into your apartment and that wanted to go to bed, and I'm putting that in the quotation marks, but that they were wearing their outside clothes? Like, what happens in that situation? Well, I guess the clothes come off, so.
Right, exactly. So that doesn't matter.
Right. Okay.
Which Canadian hockey team will be the next one to win the Stanley Cup?
Jesus, this is like such an unfair question.
It's totally fair question.
It's pretty crazy, right? Because the last Canadian team that won was 93. It's nuts how it's so long has passed, right? So, according to like the math, a Canadian team should be winning, whatever the math is. How many Canadian teams are there?
7, I think.
So, yeah, so 7 out of 30 or 7 out of 31 or whatever. How
32
many
now,
right?
I think.
You'd figure like 7 out of 30, like Canadian teams should be winning every once in a while, right? Every 3, 5, 6 years, whatever it is.
You do realize that other than the year where they had a Canadian division in the NHL, a Canadian team hasn't even made it to the Stanley Cup final since.
No, I know.
I don't know. Calgary or Edmonton.
Shortly after the Canadians won the Cup in '93, Canadian teams did make it to the final. Ottawa made it, with Alfredson and that group and Heatley. The Oilers made it to the final shortly after the Canadians,
and the Flames made it.
And then, of course, Vancouver lost to the Bruins, right? So, who's going to make it next? I'm avoiding the question because I really don't know. I'll say the Oilers. Like, I think they're going to have McDavid. They just have to figure out the team around him. They've already had a couple of good playoff runs with McDavid. I know, like, his first year and then last year wasn't bad. Like, they're getting some experience. So I would say the Oilers. I know there's a lot of hope in the Flames this year, like specifically. I don't believe in them. Ottawa's way too far away. Canadians are 7 miles away. Toronto, well, like I asked you last week, Toronto can't even get out of the first round, so we can't even talk about winning the cup. So yeah, I'll go with the Oilers.
Okay, great. And I think this is the last question now. We got here pretty quick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So during the year, there are many celebratory days, if you will, holidays or opening day for baseball or March Madness or the World Series, all kinds of different days that are exciting for whatever reason. Your birthday, maybe, whatever. Your anniversary, who knows? So my question to you is, what is your favorite day of the year?
It's a hard question, right? Look, that's really hard. I'm going to tie it into sports because we don't want to go with like, it's not my birthday. I don't care about my birthday. It's not my wife's birthday. She doesn't care about her birthday. My kids' birthdays are fun. They're growing up, so the birthdays are not a celebration. Plus, you can't make me choose between kids, so that's not fair. I know what the answer is going to be, and I think you already knew when you were asking this, right? It's the first Thursday of March Madness. Like, that's the best day of the year. That's the day of the year where at 12 o'clock, I either turn off my computer. I hope my coworkers are not listening. And I turn off my computer and I just work from my phone the rest of the afternoon, and I have the TV on, or I bring my computer upstairs and I have the TV on in the background. I mean, back in the day when we were in more than one bracket or more than one March Madness pool, we would get our papers out and get everything ready, figuring out how we're going to do, look at every single game, who we needed to win every game. It's the most fun day of following sports, right? Because you have the games starting at noon, going all the way till midnight, nonstop, overlapping games. Like, it's just, it's the most fun, like, sports watching day of the year for sure.
Okay, great. I'm not surprised with that answer.
Like, what would some of the other days be? Like, I'm not really sure.
Well, like I said, opening day, when Montreal had a baseball team, opening day or the home opener was always an exciting day.
I have to say, Josh, you're right. If we had a team here, and remembering the feeling that we had back,
you would always
94,
skip school.
Opening day, not opening day for the Expos necessarily, but the home opener was what would be number one if we still had a team.
Right.
I think. That was the most fun for sure.
And there are other days, like, I don't know. You were very excited last week when the NFL kicked off, the first Sunday where you had all those games going on and you watched Red Zone.
Yeah.
That was an
Sunday
exciting
was fun,
day
actually,
for you, at least.
Yeah. But it's not the same as the March Madness.
No.
But yeah. So good questions, Josh.
No, hopefully you like those questions.
I did. I'm gonna go out and buy an electric toothbrush right now. And I'm gonna never, every time I get in bed now, and if I have outside clothes on, I'm probably gonna think about it.
Okay.
Maybe I should think about if I should get changed or not.
The thing is, it's whether you care or not about the cleanliness, it's not really comfortable to be in your bed wearing pants and a button-down shirt, which is what I normally wear to work.
Of course not. Yeah, no.
So,
Yeah.
when I come home, I change right away also. Whether I'm going into bed or not, I come home and I change right away.
The Skip and Josh podcast is available wherever you listen to podcasts. If you listen to the show through Apple Podcasts, please leave a review. To interact with the show, send an email to skipandjoshshow@gmail.com. Follow the show on Twitter and go to Facebook to like the show page. And now for some final thoughts from the guys.
All right, so you told a really nice story at the beginning. I've got one that I've been teasing to you for like a little while now.
I'm dying to hear this.
So I don't know if you know, we're doing renovations in my house.
I don't know if I knew that.
Okay, so we're totally redoing like the upstairs bathroom, the main bathroom.
Oh,
upstairs.
you did mention that part to me. Yes.
Okay. So I need to like explain like the little bit of the layout of my house, right? So So anyways, the guys came in the first day to do the renovation, and the first day was demolition day. They have this, I still have this big yellow garbage metal thing parked in my driveway where they're dumping everything. Like, it's just a dumpster. So they come in the first day, and there was no more anything. There was no more bathroom. It was just not even walls. Like, everything in the bathroom was gone. The floor was gone. The walls were gone. The ceiling was gone. It was just beams, right? And then in the ceiling, there's insulation and whatever, but it's just beams. And that's it. There's nothing there. So the interesting thing about our house is, like, the bathroom we have another smaller little bathroom in mine and Diane's bedroom. And though that bathroom and this bathroom actually touch, like, in the walls, right? The plumbing is, like, next to each other. So, like, the back of one bathroom and the back of the other bathroom kind of are back to back. So the thing is, in that little bathroom, not the one we're renovating, the little bathroom, there's a small shower, which we hardly ever use. It's really small. It's like taking a shower on a cruise, right? It's barely could fit one person. And it's really short. It's not tall. Like, if you're really tall, you can't even go in there. So all these years since we've been living in this house, my wife's wondering, why did they make this shower so small? Like, why is it so short? How come they couldn't make it taller, right? It doesn't make sense that it's so small. And she always wondered if something is blocking in the house, in the construction of the house, preventing it from being taller. So now we can get our answer, because in the bathroom that's being renovated, you can see right through the wall, and you could see the outside of that shower. It's like this acrylic structure of the shower. It's like one of these one-piece type of showers.
Yeah.
So you can see the back of the shower from the other room. It's right there. You can bang on it and everything. So it doesn't look like there's anything preventing the shower from being taller. So what do? I'm just curious. I can't get up there. I didn't have a ladder or anything. I raise my hand with my phone, and I take a couple of pictures with my phone into, like, the blank space that I can't see. And then on my phone, I can look and I can see what it looks like inside that little area above the shower. And I look at it, and I could see there's something there. Not something preventing the shower from getting taller. It's just empty space. There's something there, books or, like, papers. Like, it's weird, right? I'm like, there's something that was inside the walls. So I go get a little step ladder. I climb up there, and I reach in, and what do I pull out? Porn magazines, Hustler. Like, I didn't even want to touch them.
Oh my God.
I didn't even want to touch them.
Like,
There's
A,
like
how
6 or
long have they
7
been there? And B, how did they even get there?
So they're in the wall, right? They no one could have ever got them. They're inside the wall, above the shower. They're from 1987. They had dates on them. Now, I only bought this house in 1999. The house was built in 86, right? So they've been there since 87.
Like, who would put them there? Like, you figure if someone's going to put them there and wants to hide them, they want to be able to get to them at some point.
Right. They were not, you could never get them. The only way to get them is if you remove the shower on the other side, then they would be on top of the shower, or, like, the way I did, like, in the wall. Like, it was ridiculous. So I took them out. I threw them out. I didn't even want to touch them, honestly. Like, I didn't even want to touch them. And then I asked the contractor, like, what was preventing the shower from being taller? He says nothing. They could have made the shower taller. They just the builder probably chose the cheapest possible shower structure to put in, like a one-piece kind of shower. That's why it's so short. But there was no real reason why it couldn't be taller. But the fact is, like, those magazines were on top there. It was crazy. Not only that, there was like 5 to 7 of these porn magazines, and there was a bunch of disposable razors, little plastic razors. Like, I don't even know what's going on. I don't want to ask questions. I don't even want to think about, like, why they're there or what. I don't. It's kind of crazy, the whole thing.
That's completely nuts. But now that the wall is no longer there, you should renovate your bathroom also, since you're already doing renovations.
Yeah, well,
and get a shower that's the normal height.
Yeah, well, that would be like the next step. Now we know if we ever renovate that bathroom, we could change the shower completely, like, and do whatever we want with it. It's super weird.
That's insane.
The whole thing is super
That's
weird.
insane.
Super weird, yeah.
So
All right, do you have anything else that you wanted to end with? Or?
I actually have another story for you.
Let's hear it. Let's go.
So I got a letter in the mail a few weeks ago. I hardly get any snail mail. and it's
Yeah, me too.
and you know, you see the return address on the envelope. It's from like the court of Toronto.
Oh no, you got jury duty.
I got jury duty, and I start on Monday.
What? Are you allowed to talk about it? We could do a whole episode about what happens at jury duty.
Well, I don't think I'm allowed to talk about it. I mean, I could probably talk about the process, but I can't talk about the actual case. First of all, let me clarify the way it works, because other friends of mine, it's happened to them. I have to go there on Monday. I'm probably going to sit there all day and twiddle my thumbs. And then they're going to say to me on Monday, I might not get selected. Like Monday, everyone shows up. Everyone who got this letter is going to show up on Monday, and then they select who they select. They might not select me. So they might say to me, go home and never come back. Or they might say, you have to come back every day this week. Who knows?
They're just going to ask you some questions. You just have to tell them that you don't allow outside clothes in your bed. They're going to dismiss you.
I don't think it's that simple. I'll try that and see what happens.
Just be yourself, Josh. You are enough of your own person, very opinionated. You know, you have your own ideas about stuff. Just be yourself. There's no way they'll pick you.
So anyway, I don't know what their selection criteria is, but I'm a little annoyed about it because I have so much work to do and at work, and I won't be able to get anything done if I'm there all week. Not to mention,
But does your employer
I have to
those
be
days
there
off?
at 8:30 in the morning, which for me, that's crazy early to be there. I have to be downtown at 8:30. When I go to the office, I usually don't get to the office until 9:30. So this is going to be an ordeal for me.
It's going to be something. I can't wait to hear about it. I really, really can't wait to hear about it. I can't wait to hear about, first of all, like what type of case it is, like what happens if they ask you questions. And it's probably going to be like what you said. Like you're probably not even going to talk to anybody and they're just going to tell you to leave.
Well, most people don't stay, like, because they tell so many people to come, and they only pick a fraction of those people to actually stay.
That's so wild.
And the case that that whatever that I'm supposed to be going for, like, who knows, between the time I got the letter and Monday, they may end up settling out of court and there might not be a case.
Yeah, you don't know what the case is or what it is. Who knows? But that's wild. I can't wait to hear about that. All right, great episode, Josh. Thanks for the questions. I'm glad I was able to answer them.
Yeah, I hope they weren't too difficult.
I hope everybody liked our crazy stories this week, too. That was fun to talk about those. And I'll talk to you next time.
Have a great week.